2:53 p.m. This is pacing. In a helicopter. And this is what they're doing at 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, all night. So this is ceaseless group stalking. That is sensational and audible activity. And I want to be clear, this is criminal facilitation. So it's going toward the prosecution of the people of the state. And the people of the state, everybody at Alvarado Gardens is already named by me. So I am speaking to those who are going to be on a database prosecuted as a group stalker. The people of the state that I will also name living in relevant position to this property are posing a threat in concert with that corrupt law enforcement agency. And these are part of the breaks when you are operating in this state system. And so that's just a matter of justice. They are group stalking and they've been group stalking. And so now you're using that evidence of that system and you're able to reach farther and wider with regard to the net of that group that is engaging in this criminal system. The entity is just like I captured on video, where the third-party group stalkers are utilizing their position, creating the activity while being on the roof. And you see the group stalker, that is LAPD, in the distance, in alignment to my physical position at that office. Okay. The entity is then following me as I go toward the mailbox, and I capture that in still images because they abandoned that position in the distance, but I noticed them and I documented them and they know that, and they came closer to in relevant position to me. They were literally following. It's not a coincidence that I'm talking about them. I'm getting them on camera, and then they're crossing path right next to the apartments seconds later as I'm walking across the property. It's also not a coincidence because in that video that I captured while I was outside of the leasing office and capturing the LAPD stalking in the path in a helicopter, facilitating group stalking and monitoring with the people of the state who were on the roof, creating amplified noise in the specific environment, monitoring with LAPD, who was using a helicopter to target an American citizen and engage in the criminal elements of monitoring, which is the practice of demonic activity. Then I go to my apartment. In that video I captured, I said, well, all they're doing is flying over my apartment back and forth and back and forth. That's what you're listening to now. That's why less than 2 minutes ago, I captured that video. They're engaging in what is patrolling, a demon that's just pacing back and forth. These are demons that are identified as the LAPD that are engaging in an unprecedented criminal act, which is monitoring and group stalking, and they are using helicopters to do it. And just like I said earlier, all they're doing is flying over my apartment back and forth. And that's why when I went back to my apartment, they were flying right over my apartment. Not over there by the office anymore, not in alignment over there. They were flying over my apartment, amplifying noise in my apartment in relevant position to me. And they're doing so with regard to what I'm doing also on a communication device. And as I just captured in this video a couple minutes ago, they're pacing, and that's why I'm capturing video again of them doing nothing other than pacing. So like I said, the entity is providing what is evidence of them literally generously handing over evidence of their clear focus of my location, and literally just flying over an apartment building over and over and over again. There is no legitimate purpose for that. And this is an entity that knows that it's being documented, and the psychopath, and that's what I mean. I'm not calling names. You are what you do. Okay. So this is not about name calling and just trying to use some sort of I'm not even on a platform. This is just using my ability to record something and just call people. I don't have time for that. That's not what this is. This is a serious crime that's being perpetrated by government. And you are exactly what you do. You are a psychopath when you are engaging in stalking. You're a psychopath when you are engaging in what is heightening, increasing that stalking behavior, because you are then what, hostile, because it's being recorded for somebody's so I want you to logically consider that what they're doing. These are the demon possessed, highly hostile. And this is, I want to be clear, this is the demented mind state of group stalkers who are demon possessed. These demon possessed group stalkers work for the Los Angeles Police Department. And I cannot stress enough what is going to be their abrupt removal from their positions and identification to the public with regard to the national threat that they are. They are a threat to American freedom. They're a threat to constitutionalism. They're a threat by being in their positions, but they're literally, who needs terrorists across the seas when you have the Los Angeles Police Department who are targeting American citizens right here in the country? You don't even need a terrorist coming over and threatening us. That's what they're doing. They are literally domestic threats. They're a threat to American society. Also, because they're engaging in this criminal conduct with American citizens, and it's supposed to be some secret society. Okay, so I have intentionally trampled all of that because it's not only my intent to prosecute, it is fully my intent and it is my joy, my duty to make sure it is exposed in every regard. Because the way that a system like this, which is wicked, demonic, the way that it thrives, the way that it survives is by secrecy. Okay, and so that's why you're prosecuting and then you're signing a non-disclosure agreement so that companies can maintain their... No. You don't do that. You are in every way disarming the ability for that system to exist in secret anymore. All right, that is part of justice and it's absolutely necessary. So you are going to prosecute and you're going to civilly prosecute. And it is also a part of that process to make sure that group stalkers are known. Those that work for companies, the name of those companies, those that own properties like our TED speaker, those that are engaging, which is criminal facilitation, where it's occurring and you own that property, that's an unlawful provision to the government that's threatening the life of another. So it creates an impetus on property owners. You better make sure that your property isn't being used for this criminal system. Like I said, the entity is engaging in a pattern of conduct, which is in every way showing, as the LAPD is openly described, they're openly, because I'm capturing videos, so they're flying second by second repeatedly, openly targeting. There is nothing else that is more potent of a threat by psychopaths who are then hostile because you're documenting it. But I want to be clear, this is the same mental, disturbing, disconcerting, demented behavior of every other police department that I have documented. Very highly demented and disturbed behavior. But like I said, there's nothing ordinary about the crime of criminal monitoring and group stalking. But it's just not, it doesn't stop at the fact that it's a crime. It's that it's demonic. So there's a whole other mental issue there with regard to a psychopath, a sociopath that wants to remain concealed and then is enraged when they are identified. It's not enough that you know that they're engaging in a crime, that they're perpetrating a crime. They are enraged at the fact that the source of their issue, an invisible condition that no mental health specialist is going to prescribe, by the way, I'll leave that alone. But it is speaking to what can be identified. You can analyze the behavior and you will come to, I'm no mental health specialist. I didn't study psychology. I studied political science and law. But it is not rocket science to recognize a sociopath, one that is disconnected from having any conscience and is determined to engage in that which an ordinary person would recognize as not normal and wrong, especially when it's being documented. And this is not reasonably questioned. The criminal active monitoring is that which you remain aware of. So as I use my phone and upload the documentation to the drive, and as I email my stuff, the evidence of what I remain subject to, the entire entity is aware of it. Okay. And you also know this by the environment. For example, yesterday when I was capturing the impossible light activity on my bedroom wall, my back was to the window and it was in the shade, but yet you had the shape of the window and my shadow appearing, just like you saw in my office, just like you see on the sidewalk in the shade. All right, very demonic, a phenomenon, impossible light activity. You're witnessing the demonic. So while this is occurring in my room, as in other words, I'm documenting terrorism that I'm subject to on the property of Todd Speaker, who's going to pay me for that. Okay, damages, and it's necessary as a matter of justice. All right, but you have what is my speaking to the demon possession, the hostility of a demon possessed entity that's perpetrating a crime. And what did you see in that video? I told you to pay attention because you'll see sparkling light moving across that already impossible occurrence. This is speaking to the hostility of the demon possessed. All right, there is no light that's going to occur and manifest on the inside of my apartment anyway while I'm on the third floor, while the sun is above in the sky. None of that's ever going to happen. In addition to the fact that it's just appearing out of nowhere in the shade. In addition to the fact that then you have what is that the demon possessed create a light show, which is speaking to their knowledge in real time and their expression of hostility. This is what this is again, not name calling. This is a psychopath. These are psychopaths who are going back and forth in a helicopter because they're hostile, while I name the people of the state who are not escaping justice, while I document the fact that they are demon possessed and they're perpetrating an unprecedented crime, and they are psychopaths who are hostile to it. Okay, that is something that you witnessed in the documentation, and it's also within a documented pattern of conduct. All right, so this, like I said, the evidence speaks for itself. Not only am I intellectually establishing demon possession for the world to understand and recognize, and also be able to prosecute a crime because you know what's going on in that environment, you are also aware of what is invisible on those in that environment, their demon possession, their condition, which is a threat to your safety. It's a threat because you see how the demon possessed behave when they're identified. Okay. And so that is the posing of an impermissible threat. That is the ongoing demonstration. You didn't see me pull out a flashlight and create light across that wall. I'm on the third floor inside of my apartment facing the light so you can see. And I'm documenting on video because I know that this is something that is beyond the imagination of a normal person who would reasonably have questions. I get that. But you're talking about those who have no, the pattern of conduct is to maintain group stalking and monitoring as a fallacy. So to debunk that altogether, I knew at the outset, this is something that you're going to have to witness with your own eyes. Okay. So while I capture that, the demon possessed who surround me, who are targeting me in real time, that is a psychopath who continues to do it while they are being exposed. Okay, who was going to follow you, in other words, to the courthouse while you're going to file file for let's just say a restraint to keep them away from you. You're going to ask the judge to give me a restraining order, right? And they're going to stalk you at the courthouse. That's a psychopath. I mean, you're literally going to the court to enforce your rights. Only a psychopath would engage in stalking you at the courthouse. That's analogous to what the entity is doing. All right. I tell you that they're demon possessed. You know this by the environment. You know this by the impossible light. And they engaged in the creation of a light show. You saw that with your own eyes. This is the ongoing evidence of their condition and their criminal act. While the entity is pacing around in a helicopter and then getting louder and doing it more frequently, they are demonstrating their demon possession and their psychotic hostility. Yes, they will be removed. Yes, you are going to be subject to your mental state is immediately and necessarily and reasonably brought into question at your federal prosecution. And this is as a department. There will not be exceptions. Oh, only the officers that fly helicopters are subject to this. And no, I want to be clear. The entire Los Angeles Police Department is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. The entire department. Okay, so like I said, it's currently 3:06 p.m. and that demon-possessed entity providing ongoing evidence, which is going to be used against the people of the state. That psychopath, that condition is shared by the people of the state. They're in the same exact environment. They engage in the same psychotic hostility while their condition is exposed and their criminal system is exposed. It is 3:06 p.m. That is P.O.C.